Hello and welcome back to the PMP Videocast. As always, I am your host Brian, and today we are going to be revisiting something near and dear to my heart. We are going to be looking at how the Simpsons predicted the future. Now, this is not going to be a list or a breakdown of all the times the Simpsons predicted real-world events that eventually came true, but instead how the series imagined the future of its world and its characters, the Springfield of Tomorrow. We are going to be focusing on episodes that take place in the future and will not include flash-forward scenes or throwaway gags and otherwise current episodes. Very excited for this. Before we jump into it, every video on this channel and our other channel was made possible thanks to our patrons over at patreon.com/pixelportraits. Without their support, none of this happens, and in exchange they get access to dozens of exclusive videos. So if you like what we do and want to see more, please consider supporting us, patreon.com/pixelportraits. With that plug out of the way, let's head back to the future. From the time it first aired, The Simpsons was a pop culture phenomenon. It really resonated with people all over America and then the world. It was an animated family sitcom, but unlike other family sitcoms at the time, live-action sitcoms, the characters never aged. Bart has been 10 for some 35 years at this point. Same with all the other characters, they don't age. Time and reality passes, but not the show. And so much of the future predictions or future episodes are centered around what would happen if the characters did get older. Like all retrofuturism, these futures are seen from the years they were created in. Also, bit of a bummer, but some of these futures were set in years that have since come to pass or will soon be passed. I'm sure anyone who has ever been a fan of the show is familiar with the first future we're going to be looking at, Lisa's wedding from season 6. This takes place in 2010, 15 years after the episode was produced, and is the show's first real attempt to predict the future of these characters and have them grow up. It is framed around a fortune teller at a Renaissance fair who foresees Lisa meeting a wealthy Englishman while away at university. It goes without saying, the episode's writer, Greg Daniels, was not attempting to accurately predict future innovations, and so we see some familiar future staples, video calling, VR, and automation. There's actually an Android librarian. It also forecasts online schooling and corporate-sponsored education. The way this is conveyed is great. Troy McClure saying the redhead in the Chicago school system. I love loaded lines like this that give so much context and so few words. In terms of other advancements or changes, soy-based foods are easily accessible. Big Ben has been converted to digital time, and cars, while still wheeled, have taken sleeker, more futuristic designs. We also see a holographic tree, and the cable for cable television is larger to accommodate 1,500 channels. Corporate media mergers, all the major networks have been consolidated into one, owned by ABC. It's interesting seeing what became of certain characters. Bart works construction, while Homer has the same job. Milhouse is now his boss. Otto runs a cab company that Quimby works for, following a political scandal. Mr. Burns is cryogenically frozen, and Martin Prince haunts the halls of Springfield Elementary after a science fair explosion. Lisa's exceptionalism is on full display here as well. She is the pride of the town, and this would carry over into the next future, Season 11's Bart to the Future. Some pretty dated portrayals of indigenous people here. The episode is very similar to Lisa's wedding. It uses the same formula, only it's now a mystic showing Bart 30 years into his future, roughly 2030, about 6 years from now. He has grown into a deadbeat musician who plays in a golf and western band with Ralph, while Lisa is president of the United States. It is revealed that Lisa assumes the office after Trump, which seems like a crazy prediction that came true. This popped up a lot when he was elected, but there were rumblings for years, being rich and famous. It's established the country is broke, yet we don't see much evidence of this. Things are running as normal. We get more holograms, virtual food, and laser shields. There are also hovering vehicles, including buses, but conventional wheeled buses still exist for poor people, which is a detail I love. Very realistic, and something we will see again. One of the sillier tech advances is that television is now beamed directly into your head via a gun. Looking at how the characters have grown, Flanders is blind after laser eye surgery, which was growing in popularity at the time. It's inferred his sons, Rod and Todd, are both closeted. Nelson has become a slimy promoter. Through him we learn that smell you later has replaced goodbye. While not identical or directly linked, Lisa's wedding and Bart to the Future share commonalities, of course being produced around the same time, relatively speaking. They are both also inspired by 60s and 70s futurism, a lot of glass domes, frivolous fins or spoilers on cars, satellite dishes, which makes sense, given that's when those creating these grew up. They are both somewhat consistent with the character designs as well, and how they predicted age. I particularly love this Krusty design, and yeah, I'm sure season 11 was when a lot of people stopped watching. Moving into the seasons where many fans dropped off, we have Future Drama from season 16, 2005. The name is obviously a play off of Futurama and features a cameo by Bender. The story is framed around Bart and Lisa stumbling into Frink's lab during a fight, who in turn shows them their future, specifically their high school prom, so 2013. This is a much darker take on the family's future. Homer and Marge are separated due to Homer blowing all of their money on an underwater house. Just like space, for years it was speculated that one day humans would colonize the sea, and we would all be living in houses similar to Homer's. He also owns an early hover car. We see the effects of climate change, with Maggie visiting the beaches of Alaska, as well as genetically modified food, Robocops, social robots, and Smell You Later is carried over as a farewell. Looking at characters and relationships, Future Drama introduces us to Jenda, Bart's girlfriend, who wants him to be more proactive. Lisa is graduating 2 years early and has been awarded a scholarship to Yale, now owned by McDonald's, more corporate education. This was given to her by Mr. Burns, who reneges on the offer after Bart saves him from a robbery, giving it to him instead. While this improves Bart's relationship with Jenda, it effectively dooms Lisa to a future with Milhouse, who is taken to using steroids to improve his self-image. Learning this, Bart gives the scholarship back to Lisa, Homer and Marge reunite, and in the end, Bart learns he will find love a minute before he dies. A bit of foreshadowing, there's a scene earlier in the episode while both of them are single. Homer and Bart hit the town and run into Miss Hoover and Miss Krabappel, and there's this line about the situation being weird. Krabappel asks Bart if he wants it to get weirder. Trust me, it will. Future Drama was followed by 2011's Holidays of Future Past. Like Bart to the Future, it looks 30 years ahead, only to a much bleaker tomorrow. No real framing, we just jump ahead through the family's annual Christmas card photo. I love this, it is so good, it infers so much about the characters, particularly Lisa, who is revealed to be queer, and at one point Polly, which I think is very on brand. Eventually she ends up with Milhouse, pregnant, and moves out, while Maggie rises to fame as a rock star, which is a little weird, and Bart stays home until he is kicked out. In this 2041, Springfield Elementary has been converted into lofts. This is where Bart lives, still a deadbeat, but now a father of 2, following his separation from Jenda. We also get medical robots, text implants, lots of holograms, books and television. The internet is VR that you plug yourself into, and Lisa's daughter Zia is obsessed with it. There is social media, Facebook and YouTube, a takeoff of YouTube, and teleportation is the preferred method of long-distance travel, though air travel still exists, but for the poor, similar to earlier, Bart to the Future, the bus. My favorite aspect of The Simpsons is the family dynamics, and I think that's really what makes this episode special. The older I get, the more I identify with it. I see it as a rumination on regret and not being happy with the future you've been given, or that you've made for yourself, with Bart and Lisa bonding over missed opportunities and the struggles of maintaining relationships. Neither of them can reach their children, though Homer is able to bond with his grandkids, like Gene Hackman and the Royal Tenenbaums, but can't bond with his own son or his own father, Grandpa, who is cryogenically frozen. It's resolved with Bart telling his kids they are the only thing worth anything in his life, and Lisa learning her daughter actually looks up to her. It's very sweet and very heartwarming. It's a Christmas episode, but there was some controversy around suggesting Dearborn, Michigan was under Sharia law. It was also considered a possible series finale should contract negotiations fail, which part of me wishes they had because this is just one of my favorite episodes ever, and I think a fitting ending to the series as it began with a Christmas episode. Instead, the show continued, and we got the direct sequel, Days of Future Future, in 2014. In my opinion, this is one of the worst Simpsons features. This episode is awful. In it, Homer dies, is able to be cloned, but dies again. This is repeated for 30 years until he can no longer be cloned. His consciousness is then uploaded to a USB, which is an idea I used to be into. The idea that my or my loved one's consciousness can live on. As I've gotten older, that idea now terrifies me. Homer ends up in a robot, and his consciousness winds up in other tech. Milhouse becomes a zombie, and Bart has sex with Miss Hoover, leading to the line, "Wow, now I see why they call you Miss Hoover," which is heavily memed in board posts, a possible throwback to the Krabappel line from Futurama. Innovations include many of the same seen in Holidays of Future Past, with the addition of a robot crematorium and a memory eraser, similar to Eternal Sunshine. Not really a fan of this one, or the next season's Simpsorama. Crossovers were the style at the time, and this one aired a month or so after the Simpsons Family Guy crossover, and brought together Matt Groening's two most popular properties, The Simpsons and Futurama. I get there is a novelty to seeing these universes come together, but I can think of dozens of stories that would have worked better than the one they picked. Basically, Springfield compiles a time capsule to be opened in 1,000 years. Milhouse puts in a rabbit's foot, while Bart contributes a sandwich he has blown his nose on before it is lowered into radioactive waste. That night, Bender shows up. He and Homer hit it off. They become friends. Bender is made a member of the Pin Pals, but a visit to Frink reveals his mission is to actually kill Homer. This is because his DNA is linked to monster rabbits that are wreaking havoc in the 31st century from the time capsule. A portal allows travel between the universes, or times, and most of the episode consists of characters simply interacting. That's the novelty, that's the appeal, I guess. There are no real innovations to speak of, but there are a few self-referential gags. The fact that Homer and Bender look identical, and that by 2014, the Bender imagined in 1999 was already obsolete. It would have been a lot more interesting, I think, to see Springfield in the 31st century and how the distant relatives of characters in the city adapted to the future. As outlandish as that could have been, it would have been a lot better than what we got. We are going to be wrapping things up with When Nelson Met Lisa from season 34, 2022. This is a parody of When Harry Met Sally with Lisa and Nelson that jumps through multiple years. AI has apparently solved all of the world's problems, the joke being they are going to kill us soon. Automation that we've already seen before, some robot instruments, the architecture of the buildings has changed somewhat. Again, nothing we haven't seen before, and it's not very consistent throughout the episode. Vehicles are the same as ever, literally. In the case of the Simpsons car, nothing has been done to make it more futuristic, though this could be intentional, showing they are too poor or broke to upgrade. Clones exist, we see some dead presidents, holograms, Bart has an invisibility cloak at one point, some transhumanism, simulation technology that is used in a very endearing way, allowing Nelson and Lisa to experience their lives in history. In terms of character development, it builds off of the past relationship while embracing some of the show's continuity. Old clips are even included, which is a nice detail. For lapsed fans, or people who haven't watched more recent episodes, the voices can be pretty shocking, especially Julie Kavner, Marge, but now that they've aged a little, kind of fits. Not a great future, but far from the worst that we've seen. Now, I know there are other episodes that technically take place in the future, but don't embrace an aesthetic associated with the future, so I didn't include them here. Let me know what your favorite Simpsons feature is in the comments, or if there is anything that I missed. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and if you had the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We should have the first part of our look at Sid Mead's Features and Films up sometime in the next week or so. A version of this video originally appeared over on our other channel. Give us a subscribe over there, links in description. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. Smile you later.